Good morning. Welcome to Windward Buddhist Temple Family Dharma Service. My name is Jennifer Kane. I'll be your MC this morning. And here we are with our final service for 2023. We'll begin with the ringing of the temple bell, or kansho, that signifies the beginning of a temple service. It is a deep and sacred ritual steeped in ancient tradition. It is the calling of the people to come together to listen to the Dharma or teachings. The temple bell represents the gratitude and deep appreciation of the members, friends, and guests of Windward Buddhist Temple. Please sit quietly in your seat. Please rise for the meditation, followed by the chanting of the Vandana Ti-Sarana by the congregation in Pali and English. This can be found in the red Jodo Shinshu service book on page 7. Please be seated. Today's sutra is 12 Homages. It can be found in the Jodo Shinshu service book. It's your red book on page 120.
Gods and men all bow in awe to Amida the revered in Buddha's wondrous pure land. Bodhisattvas gather round, golden form like the mountain king, steadfast like the elephant's pace. Buddha's eyes like the blue lotus. Thus I bow to Amida. Buddha's form round like the moon, bright like thousand suns and moons. Buddha's voice like the nightingale. Thus I bow to Amida. Buddha's figure on Kanon's crown, adorned with wondrous features. Buddha subdues evilness. Thus I bow to Amida. Beyond compare Amida's pure virtue shining clear like space. All benefit from Buddha. Thus I bow to Amida. Bodhisattvas all renowned, Maras to praise Amida. Primal vow made for our sake. Thus I bow to Amida. Golden ponds where lotus bloom, towers a throne of goodness. Buddha lives like the mountain king. Thus I bow to Amida. Bodhisattvas come afar, attaining true happiness. They revere the Buddha's face. Thus I bow to Amida. All life changes like the dew. We have no permanent self. Buddha teaches this law to all. Thus I bow to Amida. No evil in the pure land, and no fear of evil past. Faithful hearts honor Buddha. Thus I vow to Amida, saving us through many ways. No tempters, no evil friends, worthy to enlightenment. virtues boundless like the sea. These virtues share with others for birth in the pure land. Namandabu, 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 Namandabu. The virtue of Amida's vow is shared equally by all, together attaining awakened mind. We are born in the land of peace. Namo Amida, Namo Amida, Namo Amida, Namo Amida.
Please rise for the recitation Homages in the red Jodo Shinshu service book on page 2. Hard it is to be born into human life. Now we are living in it. Difficult it is to hear the teachings of the Blessed One. Now we hear them. If we do not gain emancipation in this present life, we may not be free from ill-faring in the ocean of births and deaths for kalpas. Let us reverently take refuge in the three treasures. We go to the Buddha for guidance. May we always walk in the way that leads to enlightenment. We go to the Dharma for guidance. May we be submerged in the depths of the teaching and gain wisdom as deep as the ocean. We go to the Sangha for guidance. May we all with one accord live a life of harmony in the spirit of oneness, free from the bondage of selfishness. Even through myriads of kalpas, hard it is to hear such excellent and profound teachings. We are now able to hear and receive them. Let us try to understand the Tathagata's teachings. Namo Amida. Please continue to stand for the Gatha golden chain. It can be found in our Windward Buddhist Temple supplemental service book, that's the purple book, on page 55. Please be seated. Our Dharma talk this morning is from one of our old-time and very special members, Mr. Bob Nishita.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for coming on this busy day, and also people who are watching us on the video. Thank you for watching us. Before we start, let's put our hands together for kansho for aspiration. Waga mi o tatete, to seba, mazu hito o tateyo. If you wish to succeed, you should help others to succeed first. Namo Amida. How many of you heard of, we all wear the Levi pants, but do you know the story of how Levi started? Okay, I read the story on this book, Instant Millionaires. I have it in the back if you want. Okay, here's how the story goes about The Pants Maker by Donald Jones. The little man stepped down gangplank onto the deck and gazed at the surrounding San Francisco in February of 1850. And certainly different from New York, he observed. For previous 2 years in New York home, Levi Strauss had devoured just about every word Horace Greeley had written in his Tribune about the West. When Levi reached his 20th birthday and was old enough to sit on his own, there was only one place to go, California. He started a trip with enough merchandise to set up a small store. But by the time he arrived in San Francisco, he had sold everything but a roll of canvas. What you got there, son? Levi turned around toward the voice. I said, what do you got under your arms? The man repeated. Young Charles stared at the questioner with the untrimmed beard, those dirty clothes. Oh, canvas, Levi answered. What are you going to do with it? Sell it in the gold field for tents. Ah, too bad, the miner contended. You should have bought pants. Why pants? Charles wanted to know. Up in the diggings, the miner explained, pants don't wear worth hood. Can't get a pair of strong enough to last no time. Leader pondered over his development for a moment. Then he made the decision that brought his first name, Levi, framed second only to that of Napoleon. Come on, he said. Led the man around the corner to the tailor. Soon the miner was strutting around in a pair of durable canvas pants. The happy gold seeker went all around town showing off his new pants. Look what these pants are Levi's, he bragged. Doggone if the man ever had a pants as strong as these before. The name struck, other miners came looking for the fellow with those Levi's. As soon as he had used up all the canvas, Levi sent money back to his older brother with instruction to buy up all the canvas and dock you can lay your hands on. While he waited for the reply, he made his own venture into the gold mining. It was uneventful. In the summer of 1850, Strauss returned to Sacramento and opened a modest store. By winter, Enterprise had made enough money so that he could set up a shop in San Francisco. Levi prospered in the dry goods and clothing business, and it was the store that he began making pair of waist-high overalls that defined the wear and tear of living and working in that rough country. He took orders for the pants and tailor-cut the cloth and employed women working in their homes to do the sewing. By 1853, he was hiring all of the tailor and seamsters he could find. Levi's business was so successful, he repeatedly had to move to a large quarter. His brother and brother-in-law joined him, and in the late 1860s, they moved to their present location in Battery Street. Sales increased rapidly as word of mouth advertising did its job. There was only one major change in the original styling, inspired by the story goes by the miner's name, Alkaline. Alkaline had a habit of carrying an ore sample around his pocket. The specimens were heavy and jagged, and he would keep stuffing them in until finally the pocket would give away. When that happened, Alkaline would make a trip to Virginia City, Nevada. The nearest town, he had tailors sew up the rib. Time and again this happened, and each time the tailor would get mad. "Quit carrying those rusted rocks in your pocket," he shouted. "I'm tired of sewing them up," but Alkaline wouldn't quit, so the tailor thought up of a joke. The next time Alkaline bought his pants with torn pocket, the tailor took them to a blacksmith and riveted the pocket in with the black iron nail. Everyone in Virginia City had a good laugh at the plank. That is until Alkaline returned with the pocket still intact. Later, on a trip to San Francisco, the tailor told Strauss about the joke he played on Alkaline. "You got a good idea there," Levi pointed out. "In fact, we're trying out an overall. Copper rivets might be better, though. Iron probably leave a streak on the pants when they get wet." The idea worked, and Levi Strauss introduced the tailor to take out a pattern on a strengthening Levi's overall with copper rivets at all points of the strain. Then Levi hired the tailor to run his factory. The phenomenon grew out of Levi Strauss and Company was due to in large part of the comfortable and functional fit of the pants. They were form-fit, low-hip, snug, without binding, and tapered in the leg. They were strong too. This was no accident. There were 47 separate sewing operations using 17 kinds of threads, and clothes was heaviest denim loom in the world. Strauss found that in Denim, France, it's spelled D-E-N-I-M-E-S, we've developed a practical type of fabric that was ideal for the pants he was manufacturing. The word denim derived from the name denim. Strauss worked out arrangement with town's textile mill and bought all of his clothes from them. Carefully manufacturing procedure and insistence upon quality gave Levi a reputation for strength and durability. That reputation has never been lost, though through the years, testimonials have rolled into home office, letters describing how automobiles were pulled out of a mud puddle using the pants as a tow rope became a commonplace. But that Strange story of all concerned a train. Charles Ashford, later an attorney in Los Angeles, was the fireman on the old wooden burning locomotive pulling several cars sky high with the logs one day in 1899. About 10 miles out of Flagstaff, Arizona, the coupling between the tender and the first car snapped. Ashford told what happened. Our engineers were in the copper rivet Levi pants, as did all the men in Arizona at the time, took off his Levi's straws and then, in other words, dunked them in the water tank, twisted them into a rope, tied them into a link connecting the engine with the train, proceeded on a journey to Flagstaff, negotiating several heavy grade. Levi Strauss never married, and he may have been a lonely man. Once, when asked if he thought God brought happiness, he replied wistfully, "I am bachelor, and I fancy that account. I need to work more for my entire life in my business. My happiness lies in my routine work." Then added an afterthought, no two persons are content under the same circumstances. Strauss was careful manager, kept the business within the family. He never needed to go outside of the financial help. When he died in 1902 at the age of 73, he left the business to his nephew, Walter Haas, who married one of his Levi's grandniece, became president in 1928. Although old Levi was gone, his trait of observation and analysis lived after him in the company. The story of Bobcat and the rivets is typical. In 1937, two Levi Strauss & Company employees were out hunting and one of them shot Bobcat. Has a meaning of a set claws, the shooter remarked. Like a grown-up alley cat, strange isn't it how a cat can conceal a claw so you wouldn't even know they were there. Cover it up so they can't scratch. These comments started his friend thinking. Eventually he found a way to hide the rivets in the back pocket of Levi so they wouldn't scratch a furniture, upholstery, or saddle ladder. Throughout his life, Levi Strauss demonstrated diligence, ability, and self-reliance. But as so often happens in his close associate, remember, for his other reason. Joe Frank was one of those. Joe worked for the company more than 66 years. He was still employed in the sales department at age 86. When he reflected on his old friend, he was one of the finest men I ever knew. He was a mild man, very smart, and above all, charitable. One of the first things Levi did after becoming successful was to establish the extensive college scholarship fund. When he died, his will included provisions for many charitable, including 3 orphanages, Hebrew, Roman Catholic, and Protestant. Since Levi's death, the company has expanded into a wide assortment of garments, but his foundation or enterprise is still the Levi pants that is anonymous. Look, talkative minor first wrote, "These pants have done more than anything else to spread the story of Western culture around the world. Levi's are sold in most countries and counterfeits in many. Levi Strauss amassed a fortune yet he has less chance of becoming wealthy than you do. Higher wage and effective advertising have teamed up to make today's America the largest purchases in history. To succeed, it is necessary that you remember only one thing. Your own fortitude is only as far as your mind ability to determine what is and what is not opportunity, and then to grasp it. That ends my story, but most of you thinking, what this has got to do with the Dharma talk? Well, I was thinking, the reason I chose this story was as the story goes, I think Levi listened to everybody, and that's what we need to do, to listen to people. And another reason I would elaborate more on the listening, but the other thing was, as most of you might say, oh, this belongs in a business story or whatever, but actually, this paradigm shift is spelled P-A-R-I-D-I-G-M. If you miss the shift, if he didn't listen to the minder, you wouldn't have pants today. You would have been in a tent, and nobody would want a tent, right? And another thing that I was thinking about the paradigm shift is more to do with organization and churches where we try to get people to join us. But as we were talking one day after the service, I think Cookie said it best. Most people come not only for the Dharma, but social gathering. So if we make people, newcomers or people who's checking us out, feel at home, I think that'll work to our advantage and people would want to come. That's the reason I kind of chose this story. And to listen. Give an example of when you watch news, the media, and after the person on the podium said, telling the speaker, picking up people and this person would raise his hand and he repeat the same thing that was told earlier. Because he wasn't listening, the person in the podium said, next. Wait a minute, you didn't answer my question. Next, because you weren't listening. Or something, maybe it wasn't that bad, but just to say that you weren't listening, and which is true, right? Because there was another thing that I remember. We called this guy a professor that were working with us. And some people will share the do-it-yourself, share the story, and the guy would say, oh, I know. Without really listening to the story, he would blurt out, oh, I know. Like, he knows everything. So behind his back, everybody would say, the professor is here, joking around. But actually, if you really listen, you hear different side. Even like the last time I said, the minister would say, listen as if you're hearing for the first and last time. The reason is, even though all of us as a lay person may talk about the same subject, each person will present different example or whatever. So even if you heard the story 10 times, you might pick up different story or, oh, that was a good idea. Or, when people tell you something and it might hurt your feeling, and instead of get mad, you say, oh, thank you for teaching me that. I didn't realize there's another way of looking at it. Then both of you would go away not getting mad. So I thought, before I end, I thought I'd share the similar story that was mentioned before. I first heard this story from Buddhists a long time ago about a Zen minister. Two Zen ministers, the senior minister and apprentice, as he walked around, came upon the riverbank, came upon a lady that was waiting to cross the stream, but hesitant. So the minister said, "Well, what seems to be the problem?" "Oh, I want to get across I'll help you across." And he carried her across. Then a mile later, the older minister said, "Are you still carrying that lady on your back? We left her a mile back." Footnote, before I go any further, to explain the reason. I guess back then, I don't know if anything changed since that time of the story was told, but I guess Zen ministers weren't allowed to carry a woman or things like that, so the young minister kept thinking, why is the older minister carrying that lady? So that's the reason why the older minister said, "Are you still carrying her? We left her a mile back." And the reason I told this, after I heard Putin's story, I said it before, and this is my second time. At the time, I didn't really explain that well, but at the time, I had a problem on my own where I was carrying excess garbage in my bag because I had a personal problem. And maybe I didn't explain it at that time, but now I just say, sometimes I think about it, but what I do is, I did it at the time for a reason to help that person. If they don't understand it, that's okay, just move on. But a lot of times we do carry that excess baggage because, why did I help that person? Or whenever you think about it, you get mad about it. And sometimes I do too, but I keep saying to myself in Japanese, "Seta mono wa hirau denai," or what you discard, do not pick up what you discard. So, anytime you have any problem, just think about that and just move on, because you cannot change what happened in the past, no matter how hard you try. Yesterday was gone. Today is present. You just concentrate on today, not yesterday. What you spent time thinking about yesterday, 20 minutes, you wasted 20 minutes of yesterday today. So don't waste your time thinking about yesterday. Another thing I want to end before I end my story is karma. Sometimes I think, why are these things happening to me? As if I'm the only person that have the problem. No, I don't think so. Everybody has the same problem, or in fact might be bigger than me. But I keep thinking, why is this happening to me? And I was reading one of the book, I think it said, this lady said, I must have had bad karma in my previous life. The things are happening to me. And because I read that, I asked Reverend Bert, and I knew this answer before I even asked Reverend Bert, but I needed to ask because it kind of bothered me. And he said, you shouldn't think that. And we was going to talk some more, but he got interrupted, so we kind of just... And I kind of knew in my heart that he was right, yeah. I mean, who's going to know anything about what happened? I don't know who I was many life ago. So not think about yesterday, just think about present, and nobody is perfect. Oh, talking about perfect. Nothing is perfect, right? I mean, every day, every time I shave, I think to myself, I try to get a shaving cream perfect every time, but never do. I always get either too much or too little. So, just that example, nothing in life is perfect. So remember, just live your life the best you can for today. And in closing, I like to say, Tanin no eni tamo no o. Let me read this. Tanin no e tamo no o urau muna. Do not envy what others people have. Thank you for listening. Namo Amida. Thank you.
Thank you, Bob. We can let go of some things as this year changes. I think that might be a good idea. Start fresh. Please rise for the Gatha Namo Amida Butsu 1 in the Praises of the Buddha book, which is the brown book, page 104, and then please continue to stand as we recite the Nembutsu in the Jodo Shinshu service book, that's the red book, on 135.
selfless compassion and wisdom, which are qualities also attributed to God in Christianity. But Amida is not considered a supreme being who created the universe and now resides in heaven to watch over me, judging my thoughts and actions in this life according to some divine standard. Instead, Amida is a dynamic spiritual power manifesting as wisdom and compassion that I am made aware of in the ordinary experience of my life. Wisdom helps me to see myself and life as they really are, not just as I wish them to be. Compassion enhances my appreciation for things and assures me that I am embraced by a wider community and not forsaken as an isolated individual. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu.
Please be seated. That concludes the last service at Windward Buddhist Temple of 2023. And we'll have announcements now. I'll call up our president, Dennis Oshiro.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you, Reverend Barbara, for leading our service. Thank you, Bob, for your interesting message. I'm wearing Levi's, by the way. Interesting story. I was wondering why all these little rivets on the edge of the pocket. Thank you also, Jen, for being the MC. David for being a greeter, Prudence, who rang the kansho today, and of course Ryan for recording our service. We have several guests. I think it's best if I have Barbara introduce them. I think you know them.
In the front row is my daughter-in-law Eileen with Kenji, my grandson, younger grandson, and my son Brian. In the back, standing, is my daughter Katie and my newest grandson, Renzo. And Brandon is standing next to her. And there's Luca, and that's Brennan's son Luca. And then I think Nico's also there. And so welcome. Yeah. They wanted to ring the bell for, yeah.
Thank you. Thank you all for coming. Our next service will be the first Sunday service of the year 2024. That'll be on January 7th. There will be an intergenerational activity being planned by Prudence that will follow that service. So Prudence will explain the activity.
Good morning. I didn't have time to make a sample, but being that it's the year of the dragon, and especially I think even the seniors can do this, we're going to make dragons, little dragons. So please come on Sunday. The other thing is, we have our social concerns group, part of the program committee, and because Buddhism is all about peace, the main temple is going to be signing up to walk in the Martin Luther King parade, which is on the second Monday, I think, of January. So it was either that or we were going to participate and clean the canal over there. And we decided that it was easier for us to walk. So those of you that's interested in walking, we can carpool from here because the walk is from Ala Moana Beach Park all the way to Kapiolani Park. And if you're like Dennis and me, when we walked the last time, we cut out halfway through. This is a long walk. But anyway, if you wish to join us, please meet us here. What time shall we meet? 7:30, I guess, because there's no parking, so we're going to have to carpool and then have people drop us off. Okay, just wear your Windward Buddhist temple shirt. Thank you.
We'll get more detailed information in the Sundays leading up to that. Yeah, that last time we did the walk, that was the Pride Parade. It was hot. There were no clouds in the sky. That's our excuse for quitting halfway. On Friday, January 19th, there will be a special service at the Hawaii Betsuing Main Temple beginning at 6:30. The Queen Liliuokalani Reconciliation Service will be honoring Queen Liliuokalani's and Mary Foster's legacy of justice and nonviolence. It is an interfaith event, including the Pacific Justice and Reconciliation Center, historic Honolulu churches, and Honpa Hongwanji Hawaii Betsuing. The service will be followed by some entertainment. A flyer is posted on our bulletin board so you can see more details about the special service. For those who weren't here last week, we are planning a visit to Hawaii Betsuing on Sunday, February 18. We will not have service here on that day. Please mark your calendars. Like our visit to Jikoen, Hongwanji, we will be carpooling to the Betsuing Temple. I'll announce more information during January, and I'll have a sign-up sheet. Are there any other announcements? Short announcements today. Okay, we've now come to the end of 2023. Did the year go by fast? I think so. I mean, I feel like I'm aging so fast. Do we kind of look back and say, good riddance, 2023? But hopefully we all can look forward to a good 2024. Now, to celebrate the end of 2023, we're going to ring the bell, the kansho out there. It's a Japanese Buddhist custom known as Joya no Kane. It's supposedly you're ringing it 108 times, and that's to get rid of 108 worldly desires that we have and need to cleanse ourselves as we enter the new year. The last ring is supposed to be after midnight, but since we're ringing it during the morning, said, oh well. So we'll try and keep count. I don't know how many of us here, maybe we'll ring it 3 times each and then finish it up somehow. Okay, but we'll ring it with all your energy. You know, you want to say goodbye to 2023 and also hello, welcome to 2024. Okay? So right after this, and then we'll have refreshments. And we've asked Janet Kukino, she's made soba salad as part of our refreshments. It's kind of to tie into the Japanese tradition of eating soba soup. So close, and it's healthy. Okay? All right. Now, let's have words of thanksgiving found on page 126 of your red service book. We are truly grateful for this wonderful food, a gift of life. May we share its benefits with all beings. As we partake of this food, let us remember Amida Buddha's compassion, which surrounds all people and all forms of life. Namo Amida Butsu. Itadakimasu. Okay, so Barbara, you will be leading. You will bring first. Okay? Thank you, everybody.